Since I am Scooby 1961, I know with 100% certainty what I have done and what I have not done. I am the ultimate authority on my juiciness or nattiness. The two reasons you can be sure that I will not lie to you are, one, I don't sell anything, so I don't have to pretend my gains were from the products I'm selling, the workout programs, the supplements, whatever. The second reason is I don't care if you like me. A big problem is everyone has a different definition of natural. So rather than answer the question, I'm going to present you with the facts and you can decide for yourself whether I'm juicy or natty. First of all, for those who are not Native American speakers, natty is short for natural. In a strict sense, only real unprocessed food and water is natural. Everything else is unnatural. Multivitamins are unnatural. Prescription medications are unnatural. Multivitamins are unnatural. All supplements are unnatural. Protein powder is unnatural. Insulin for diabetics is not natural. Synthyroid for people with low thyroid is not natural. TRT for people with low testosterone is not natural. So again, it depends on how you define it.
If you don't care if we think you're natty or not, why are you doing this video?
Great question, Hans. It's because people who spend hours trying to figure out who's natty or not are always people who are frustrated with their progress. They're typically newbies and intermediates wondering how big they can get naturally. It's also people who have believed the BS on social media that has led them to totally unrealistic expectations for muscle gain. I know I've said this literally hundreds of times in my over 1,000 videos on YouTube, but gaining muscle is a very slow process. By slow process, I mean for a newbie, 15 pounds a year, if you work out with incredible intensity 3 to 4 times a week, 52 weeks a year. And for people who are intermediates, they are lucky to eke out 5 pounds of muscle with the same effort. That is reasonable expectations. Comparing yourself to others is always self-destructive. All you can do is lift as hard as you can, lift as smart as you can, sleep as much as you can, and eat as clean as you can. If you've done all those things, there's nothing else you can do to gain muscle faster. And comparing yourself to people who might be natty or not is not going to help. You're just wasting time that you could spend sleeping. So I promised you the facts. Let's talk facts. I've been lifting weights 3 to 5 days a week, every week since 1981. Even this summer when I did my 1,500-mile bike trek in Germany, I was working out 3 days a week, doing 3 full body workouts a week. Even when I flew around the country in Dottie, I was doing 3 full body workouts a week. Literally, I do not take any time off lifting and have not since 1981. Here's my physique history over those 40 years. I also do 5 to 15 hours cardio every week. I've always taken sleep seriously and get 7 to 9 hours a night. I eat very clean, meaning I eat lots of vegetables and beans and very, very little processed foods. When it comes to protein, probably 75% comes from beans. I would say 20% comes from dairy in the form of non-fat Greek yogurt. The last 5% of the protein comes from occasional fish and chicken. I don't take any supplements, not even a multivitamin. I am on TRT. If you have more questions about that, see my video titled Scooby is on TRT. We're going to cover that in the physique history, and you can decide how relevant you think the TRT is to my muscle gain or loss. Let's cover the physique history now. First of all, 1984, this is 3 years after I started lifting. You can tell I was really lanky because this is after 3 years of lifting. Here we are 8 years after I started lifting. Clearly I've gained some muscle mass, but this was in the era where I was doing everything wrong. Remember, this is pre-internet. The only information were the muscle mags that gave the routines of steroid people like Arnold, while forgetting to mention the fact that you need to take steroids to get their gains. So in this era, I was doing ridiculous stuff like training the same body part every day of the week, doing a full body workout 5 days a week. The fact that I gained this much muscle in 8 years, being that stupid, is pretty amazing. So here I am 9 years after starting lifting. The only difference is I've shaved my chest hair. Here I am 10 years after lifting. Again, you know, these gains are pretty pathetic. If someone today only looked like this after 10 years, they would call themselves a hard gainer. Okay, so this is 15 years after. This is the creatine era. As you'll notice, I have no abs. This was an era where they believed that you had to drink lots of grape juice to activate the creatine. And grape juice is all sugar. So that's the belly here. Okay, this is the biggest progress I ever made. This is after 15 years of lifting, this is 20. So there's 5 years here between these. This is definitely my peak muscularity here in 2001. I was 40 years old. I mean, you can tell by my pec development, this is definitely my most muscular. And what happened here is I finally started getting some good information about lifting and nutrition. Instead of doing like a full body workout, I started a 5-day split in this period. So I was working out like a fiend. Granted, these days we know a 5-day split is not optimal, but compared to the ridiculous stuff I was doing before, I made incredible progress doing that 5-day split, and also in getting more protein. So that's my big jump here in this 5-year period. Okay, so this is 22 years after. I'm a little leaner here, a little smaller. Actually, you notice pretty much every year after 2001, I get smaller and leaner. So this is 22 years after I started lifting, 24 years after I started lifting, 26 years after I started lifting, 29 years after I started lifting. This is the contest I did in 2015. This is 34 years after I started lifting. This is definitely the leanest I've been in my life. I believe I was around 6%. And then this is 2019, which is 38 years after I started lifting. Let's talk about the TRT timing. As I mentioned, it's pretty clear 2001, when I was 40, is the peak of my muscularity. And ever since then, I've been losing muscle mass. It's way, way after 2001 when I started the TRT, when my testosterone got under 200. So it's up to you to decide. Am I natty or am I not? I definitely use TRT. There's no question, if I stopped right now, I would lose more muscle mass than I have. So yes, TRT has stopped me from losing muscle mass. However, it's not like I started TRT back here and used it to get to this point. I don't even think TRT was around up here. It started way down here. So again, you have the facts. You get to decide if I am natty or if I am not. Motivation is fleeting. Determination is fleeting. Self-control is fleeting. If you rely on those things, you will eventually fail. The only way to make progress year after year, decade after decade, is if you make it part of your lifestyle and make it fun. Cardio, you have to find a kind of cardio that's fun. You have to find workouts that you love doing. If you don't do that, you're never going to have the physique you want. Thanks for watching. Auf Wiedersehen.